Hello, beautiful friends. So this was an ecstatic way to start the day. For me, that's starting the day, and I know for some of you it's evening. But this is Karen Drucker, sorry, and it's called Songs of the Spirit. And I just love it. All her songs are, repeating all the good stuff. And sometimes we need to repeat all the good stuff to get into a good mood. And it's always important to be in a good mood, I believe. I know that we have so many disciples of Yogananda here, so you know that Yogananda would not allow anyone in a bad mood into his presence. And the longer he knew humanity, the fewer people he actually allowed into his presence. And so, yeah, no bad moods. So we need to have some kind of self-control. And control maybe doesn't sound so good, but it is our divine discipline. It is our divine purpose to actually remember who we are and what reality is, what it isn't, and how to be in this world. How to be in this world is what we do here. So today, as I was meditating in the morning, I asked if Divine Mother could be transmitting her love to every single one of you on the call today to do a little transmission, and she said yes. And I really mean it. Sometimes I don't get a response, but that's very rare. And so there is such thing as attunement, sitting in meditation, attuning, doing your best you can to attune yourself with breath and love. And so, Divine Mother, we are here with you today. Every single one of us on this call will receive. I already feel it. Do you feel it? She's transmitting. And you can put your hands out to her as she is in this divine picture. Allow her to transmit. And so I will show again the breath that I use to connect very, very deeply with Divine Mother. So, it's wonderful when you can see, of course, because when you can see, then you cannot be fooled. When she says yes, she means yes. And so let us receive. Mother, we love you. We adore you. We are here with you. We are here for you. And that's how it is. Our hearts are open, always open, as we know how to create magical realities with you, Mother. We love you so much, and we are so grateful you are here with us every single day and just being present in our hearts for you, because that's really who we are. We are love in the presence of the Mother. And so it is, beloved Mother. She's going to be working through us all day long. And the last 2 days for me have been very different in the way that I normally have my morning practices in a certain way. But I really feel the change that is happening on planet Earth. I think you must be feeling it too, because I feel we are being invited to be more and more and more mystical in all that we do, how we wake up in the morning, what we do with our life. It's like mystical kind of path unfolding here within us every single day. So which breathing techniques we love, how do we love to meditate? Kind of almost like I feel also that it is becoming truly that one big purpose and everything else is falling aside, all the other stuff. So yes. And so we will be guided in this mystery. Divine Mother always guides us new moon to full moon these days, and things might change. I was explaining yesterday how she actually explained this to me when I was kind of complaining and saying, so, what else were you going to tell us about the mystery? And she said, I already told you so much. In a way that, now it's time to practice and be impeccable with what she told us. And so it is, let's just review a few things about Divine Mother, and then we will go into our amazing, amazing thing today. And that's going to be a transmission with Orin once again. And today I really wanted to work with the Devas, but she said no. She said not today. Today you're going to be working with the light of Sirius and the central spiritual sun. And so I asked why, and I was told that really this is the next step for humanity, and that is the liberation. So let's speak about liberation, what it really is. And again, I'm just translating kind of, sometimes she gives me words, sometimes she just gives me transmissions. When she gives me words, it's easier. When she doesn't give me words and it's a transmission, I'm a translator. And as a translator, so of course, we are also imperfect. So I want to also say, translating is different from receiving words. And sometimes she said words. For example, her words are always, as you know, relax, let go, trust, and surrender. Four steps, powerful. Who can truly understand these 4 steps will fully end up in the heart and in the arms of the Mother. There is no other way. The other words she always repeats with words, she says, this was all meant to be beautiful. And that's good to remember. This was all meant to be beautiful. So the design is still here. And now a lot of things happen, but now it's the time of recovery. We are recovering from the nightmare, stepping into the dream time. Beautiful dream time. What is it you want to dream? And as I was meditating this morning, doing the breath practice that I will also be sharing, and we've done this before, the Ujjayi breath through the spine. I was waiting for a desire to be born in the heart, because sometimes I feel like when your life already seems to be perfect and everything's working, you harmonize the entire everything and you get everything you want and it's exactly the way you want it. It is hard for me personally, to constantly be thinking, what is it I want to be creating? I'm working on big things right now, world peace and joy and love for all. But I was waiting for a desire to be born. And the desire to me is always be your highest version. And once you get there, be even a higher version. And once you get there, be again a higher version, and always just keep being the more blissful, more really enlightened in a way that you can receive more love and light. So, once you cover all the basics that you'd like to have in your life, it's time for those big dreams. And so Divine Mother will be showing us how to do that as well. And that doesn't mean that we have to do it. It just means that sometimes, we already have done so much cleansing and clearing that every area of the life is harmonized. So once we harmonize that personal life, it's time for the big mission, which is the big collective. I'm working on a video for Patricia Coda-Robles, which is the last vlog that she did, where we are bringing in really the vision of what's to come. And if you have listened to it many times, you know that every single one of us will be called into service in a whole new way. We will remember the incredible tools and technologies we have within us, and that will be changing the world. And so she speaks about some that will be the emissaries. And so to me, you guys are the emissaries. You'll be the shining ones, shining that light into this world. Yeah, that's the last one. So I'm just working on it, to make it very beautiful. Usually it takes a few days to create a video like that. But we are all in training for what is next. And so I was, for example, speaking to my daughter, and my daughter was born in the year 2000. So those kids, they came with a very different equipment and they have never been here before. And she says, I'm starting to remember the mission. And, she doesn't meditate, but they don't need to meditate, I do believe, because they came so clean and clear. And so, you guys have kids as well. And maybe you are one of those too who came with clean and clear, no karma, nothing burdened, just came to give and be the gift. And so she's saying, I'm starting to remember that we came here, like her generation, through these portals around the earth. And it was a big group of them. And every single one of them is bringing a solution for the world. And she doesn't listen to Patricia, but I was thinking, whoa, that's what Patricia speaks about. These kids bringing solutions. I'm like, what is it, Munchkin? What is the solution you are bringing? Please remember. Don't you want to try a little bit of Orin, meditate a little bit to remember? Squeezing the remembering out of her. Yeah, I can't wait for them to remember. Don't you think that's going to be amazing? So she says it's going to be technology that the whole world will be using so that the entire world gets better. So we just do what we need to do and let them remember, but we also will be remembering. So today, for example, we will be working with the light of Sirius, and that is remembering. That is remembering, isn't it? Because when we work with the light of Sirius, we really go to such amazing evolutionary light, which reminds us of what? Which reminds us of our freedom. And freedom from what? Freedom from actually that which already has been created. So in a way, you can say that Sirius is reminding us that we are free in this world, and that all that has been created is just creation on the outside. Someone created it, we created it, personally, collectively, we all created what is out here. So when you look at the world as is, that is the result of human unconsciousness mainly. Some consciousness, mainly unconsciousness. That's my personal opinion, but there's a lot to be cleaned up. And so when we look at it, we cannot be enslaved by that which already has been created. We must be above it, free to understand where change truly comes from, which takes us back to our beloved Gandhi, who was a disciple of Yogananda. The change has to come from the causal plane, which is within. So we are the cause, the world is an effect, always. That is the freedom of realization, that we cannot be harmed, actually, ever, but by that which has been created. So everything on the outside, and again, the wonderful things about Uncle Jesus, be in this world, yeah, have fun with this, but realize that world has been already created by the past. We are untouchable, even though it doesn't seem like it. But that's how we actually remember to perform miracles. Isn't that true? When you realize that everything on the outside was created in the past, and here it is now for us to look at. We are supposed to look at it. If we don't look at it, then, how are we supposed to do something else? So we look at it and say, okay, so how was this created? Oh, probably unconsciousness. But then let us step into consciousness and be free from what was created in the past. The freedom is important because people often in this world find conditions and they say, I am not free within these conditions. But that freedom is always within us. No one can take it away. I have seen some beings who wanted to take it away. Of course, big story, but this is back to freedom. The freedom to say, okay, this got created in the past, all these quantum particles became it, here it is. How do we clean it up and then create something new? Impersonal energies, I love it, Lynn. That's exactly what it is. So this is the big remembering. And sometimes it's very intense when we face those conditions that were created by the past unconsciousness. And as you know, this is for most of us not the first time we've been here. I remember being here so many times. We've had lifetimes where we already achieved enlightenment, and now we are still here. You would think that doesn't make any sense. Why would I want to be here when I've already achieved enlightenment in past lives? But that's why you're here. Because under these conditions, you were able to achieve enlightenment in the past. You proved your incredible deliberate what is it, your determination. You also proved your understanding, and so you said, I'm coming back. Diligence. Thank you. So because you've done it before, that's why you're here again. I think that's how it is for many of us in this world who are doing the work like you are, because you figured it out. And so now is about just snapping out of the veil is still here, isn't it? Because otherwise it would be a very different world. And so we're going to be dissolving the veil today. We will dissolve it. Yeah, and I love it. So we have many wonderful mystics here who share so much great information. And again, we learn from each other. Absolutely. And so what happens? I always say, I remember coming here, from a really wonderful world and already doing great things somewhere else. And then they said, oh, you're going on a mission to planet Earth. And I was like, oh, no. It's really hard to leave blissful places. It's really hard to leave places where things are working so beautifully. It's very funny. But again, we didn't think this was going to be easy. And I remember knowing it was not going to be easy lifting an entire planet to a higher dimension. Yeah, I think no one could tempt Yogananda to come back into this world. If anyone did not like it, that was him. And so But today we have an amazing mission here together. We will be stepping even, I also, okay, I have one more thing before we go into our meditation. So I have noticed that everything that we do here as a group then is being seen by the psychics and the seers in this world. And they say, oh, you know, suddenly spirit is downloading into matter. And I'm thinking, that's what we are doing. Yeah. And every time. And so everything that Divine Mother is taking us through, it seems like it's being very visible on a collective level. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So today, as always, magicians, they use their mind in a certain way. Number one, we first start with the heart, attuning the heart, really like attuning for, and then we have done it really today, attuning ourselves to Divine Mother, attunement to love. That's always where we want to start. Even before you do anything in your life, attune to love first. And sometimes, you know, it can be our spiritual practice, and sometimes it can be just stuff we do in this world. But when we first invite love into our hearts, we really have prepared ourselves and everyone around us for amazing outcomes. And so this is really how the new earth will be functioning, which I will speak about a little bit before we go into meditation as well, because it's unfolding here so much for so many. And some people are visiting, like Patricia was describing. And so attuning to love, really, let's take that moment as the most important step we can ever take, the step into the heart. And in that heart must be love. Sometimes the heart is, you know, burdened, but let us go into the unburdened heart, the heart that knows how to love so much and love everything and love everyone to some extent without having to even be personal, just very impersonal. All-encompassing love actually is the key, because once we make it personal, we also make it conditional very often. So let's just stay in that absoluteness of love that is Christ consciousness, that is the illumination. And we use our breath to do that. Our breath is so powerful. It is the connecting tool we have. That's why we use breath to connect. We also use breath to liberate, because sometimes within us are also blockages, and these blockages can be so old, many other lifetimes of blockages. And we want to liberate all energy to be clean energy. You know, we are in an energy field, really deep down, every single one of us. I call it a star because we do look like stars when I see us. The thing is also, you can say everyone's an orb. We have beautiful orbs, you know, and so again, we want to be very nice, expanded, clean orbs. And with that love, let us go into the intention that today in our meditation, we will be connecting very deeply, also not only through consciousness, but breath into the body with the light of Sirius, this evolutionary, liberating light, which reminds us that it is us above matter, that we are free from that which has been created, and that we are also so powerful that we can change anything and everything from the causal plane when we work through the heart. It always is desire born in the heart that changes creation. We will be also connecting to the central spiritual sun. That's always very, very blissful. And the breath that I use personally for this connection, and sometimes it's just absolutely unbelievable, magical experience, is the Ujjayi breath, which is also called the ocean breath. And I open myself with the breath of fire. So I saw the question, if I can show the video, I will do that. I will find it. But the one that I have here prepared for us is the Ujjayi breath. And so I have to stop recording when I do this, because again, I cannot post it on YouTube. But so again, I recommend doing this. And that will be, you are liberating your spine to be the highway to heaven. And heaven is, you know, maybe just the word we use to actually connect with divine source. So I do this in the morning with the breath of fire. And instead of doing it the way that, people focus on the breath being in the belly, I focus on the breath actually opening up the spine. And then doing this Ujjayi breath, and again, opening up the spine, releasing all that stuff that no longer serves us, and actually just being an empty bone, as the Native American saying goes, to be the empty bone, to be liberated. And so one day I was doing this at Mount Shasta, and actually a miracle happened. And I always say, you never know when it happens. So expect miracles every single time. And that means when you liberate yourself, finally, that one last thing goes out. You become that empty cup. But guess what? The universe suddenly feels you completely differently. The universe as force comes then through you. And it is the rainbow light of the mother and the rainbow light of the father that then meet within you. They meet within you. They move through you, both of them at once. The magnetic forces, isn't that incredible? You simply have energetically created liberation, and then bam, it falls into you, and it moves through you, through the spine, and it actually goes through the head. It goes also through the base of the spine, but it goes into the heart. So this video that I was playing, you find on Gaia TV. I recommend having Gaia TV just for these amazing breathing things that they have. And the Kundalini yoga, some of it is really great. And just opening yourself up. But also important is we want to be prepared, right? That's why stretching. So this you can do whatever he was doing, actually sitting on a chair. In the Taoist practice, they don't sit cross-legged because now that we have chairs, it is actually almost better and more beneficial for us to be sitting straight up on a chair uncrossed. Very beautiful. So again, a little bit of stretching, just a little bit of stretching the spinal cord, stretching the nervous system, allowing this to be a liberation. And also you will be able to achieve mindlessness. There is no mind. It's good to be in no mind. So that creates liberation too, So very, very beautiful. So a few words about what we're going to do. We are once again connecting to the light of Sirius, and we will be using this beautiful album again. Many of you have it. If you don't have it, you've seen me promote this one again and again and again, because this one is always accelerating your evolution, no matter how evolved you are. When we meet Divine Source, when we have these amazing encounters, when you just can go and chit chat with Divine Source upon your command, you would think that must be it, but it goes beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond. And so today, again, we go beyond. Wherever we are, this is going beyond. So this track, and then we'll close today. I promise to speak a little bit about visitations to the new earth, so I'll do it after. But let us go into this beautiful accelerating. And for those of you who work with this often, it's always different. You just never know. So it's track number 10, Sirius and the Central Spiritual Sun. So 25 minutes of amazing meditation. So once again, this was an amazing mystical transmission. We don't do anything that is not super, super high level mystical, and Orin transmitted these energies to us. That's why we prepared our spinal cord. We wanted to be prepared for this big transmission. If you want to take your practice to the next level, you will start breathing the Ujjayi breath during this transmission and download these energies with your breath directly from Sirius and directly from Central Spiritual Sun into your spine, into your Shushumna. That's the next level. So there is no link to this one. You would have to purchase. And I always say, I would never, ever try to recommend something that I haven't tested, for decades, and to be one of the most powerful tools. And this will take you to the next level. This will take you always where you need to go. For me, this was taking me to Divine Mother. This was taking me to Source. This was taking me to Yogananda. So the link to purchase. Okay, I actually sent the email this morning, so it has the link to purchase. So it's in the email. So we will be working quite a bit with these mystical breaths. So I do recommend finding a YouTube video for Breath of Fire or on Gaia TV, and then Ujjayi breath, and opening up your spine. In those breaths and instructions, they don't specifically guide you to breathe through the spine, but take it to that next level. Liberate the spinal cord, become that holy grail, open to the divine energies, to be the tool for this divine light in this world. And then again, taking it to the next level of service. You know, I never charge for any of these myself, because Divine Mother called for this service to be given to everyone. So sometimes people are confused when there is no high price on something. It doesn't seem so important, but I promise this is very important. And that's why it's free, because we all have to have these tools, the teachings. You know, I do charge for my private sessions one-on-one just because it's my time and I have to take that time away from everything else. Not have to, I want to. But this is really important. Service to humanity, service to Mother Earth, speaking on her behalf, giving every single tool away, every single practice away, absolutely for free, so that we all can benefit. And so we take it to the next level. We take the breath, the Ujjayi breath, and this amazing breath of fire, and we go through the spinal cord, liberating, but always please stretch before. The stretching is also very important. You want that highway to be liberated. And then the next level of service is going outside and anchoring all that is coming through you into the earth, into that amazing, amazing loop. That is the next one. Changing the world, because you are so powerful now. And if you guys can spell the breath. For those of you who want to stay, I'm going to do a little transmission of the new earth energy. And that means for me, it is a transference, transmission. Because, you know, when you really go there and it's not imagination and it's not in consciousness, I don't travel in consciousness. So again, it's a gift that, you know, we all have within us to be able to actually unleash ourselves into higher consciousness. And again, you know, I've taught it before, I'll teach it again soon. And we'll take it again, you know, this is how you do it. And so let this be a transmission of what the new earth is, so that we carry it within us. Many of you heard this before. So if you are logging off, then I'll see you at 5 p.m. Pacific, or tomorrow again at 11 a.m. Pacific. But let us transmit. And this is what Patricia did in her last video too. Every single one of us who is doing this mission here, which is you, I do believe we already have experienced enlightenment. I remember experiencing enlightenment many times, actually, and always coming back, but also going to other places to also do some work. And for this specific lifetime, I remember coming from what I would call the core of a galaxy. And I cannot tell you which one, because some memories are also not given to us fully and completely. So I want to be honest about that. So I remember being in a core of a galaxy and looking at this tiny little dot, which is the planet Earth, and for my family to say goodbye to me. And I mean, family, you know, very different type of beings than what we have here in our physical bodies. And so I remember the transmission to me and the words that they transmitted. And it was almost like, be careful, stay away from humans. And that to me is forever funny and unforgettable. And so here we are. Here we are. We are in human bodies. And so we all are in human bodies in this world. And I always say that is very deceiving, because who you truly are might not be that at all. But yes, to be here, you have to be born here, or to come into a body that was liberated, and so that you can enter. So both ways are possible. And so here we are in human bodies, looking at each other and saying, this is a woman, this is Peter, this is John, this is Mary, but maybe not so much. And so we come here, and certain things we have to remember, even though the veil is thick. And my beings call this the gas chamber. And they said, you come into this gas chamber and then, it's hard to breathe here, the divine light of God, but still we must remember. And so we come here with certain tools, certain techniques, certain remembrance, and something like equipment. And then it truly is up to us to maintain it and keep remembering more and more and more of who we are, so that someone here can actually fulfill this purpose. And that's what you all are doing. Every single one of you. You would not be listening to Oren if you were not having an amazing mission. And so then we all have different tools. Sometimes we have exactly the same tools. And for me, one of the tools since this childhood was able to travel through time and space, but not in consciousness, but actually in a body. So as a kid, I had a big family of beings of light who would come to me, and every single night we would travel through time and space. And it was pretty strange to me. And I didn't even love the feeling of it because it was so weird, really. But it came in handy later. And so especially since these big things happened in 2019, where suddenly this whole new divine plan actually unfolded. Now, the funny thing is, when you start working with divine source in a way that you actually travel out of body, and you are able to sustain the frequencies, this intensity of consciousness, which is our purpose, to be able to sustain this intensity, then of course you also are really a reliable being that says, I am fulfilling my purpose no matter how small. So here I am, reveal to me the divine plan so that when I go back into my human body, I am fulfilling that divine plan without second guessing. And so I started to go to Source, and Source one day told me that actually the divine plan changes quite a bit. And to me, this is so interesting. Yeah. And, we have been working with Patricia since like 2009, 2010, really creating so many activations to assist with the divine plan and the unfolding, and making online tools as well, so that so many people can participate. And so the divine plan does change, but we want to be able to know when it changes so that we can still be part of it. And so one of the things was that I will be traveling out of body intensely into these higher realms and bring information back to humanity and speak about it. And it was not important how many people listen, actually. It was not important at all. So I don't know if you notice, I don't care how many people listen or not. If one person is here, I'll speak it. And if no one is here, I will still speak it and record it and put it on YouTube. So the big mission was go to these higher realms, have all these amazing encounters, and then speak it into the ethers of the earth as if on a radio. So this is exactly the instructions. And so I started doing that. And this was really important, that there is no face behind it, really. Specifically, that was the instructions, because there is then a lot of kind of transference. People, when they see you, they connect with your body, they connect with your face, they connect with, what they see instead of the information that is coming through. So speak it into exactly the field here and make it kind of tangible. And so I want to make tangible today, and again, I know this is running long, but a few minutes of the new earth. So the new earth became available to us in 2012, after there was a huge shift within a world. I always say it's a big world with so many planets, so many suns. And there was this beautiful dragon being that she was moving through all worlds equally, and she lifted them all up. And so she gave rise to the higher self of the earth we have now. And so we call it the new earth. Now, some beings were able to already transfer to the new earth. And so I say, when you go to the new earth, you will see many humans, just like you and me, in the bodies that we have. And many native nations, what we call native tribes, you will see native nations who actually reside. And I think it's because their consciousness. So they could do it. So to me, I can only speak about the fact that I know that they live there. And I also was given the opportunity to stay, but I also did not want to stay. I have been given the option to stay several times, but I always like to come back for my daughter. And not just my daughter, but that's always my main thing. I still want to be around. But as you know, sometimes when we are in these higher realms, we also say, oh yeah, this sounds good, I'm not coming back. And so I only assume it would turn off the avatar here in this world. And so I like coming back, and it's fine with me. But they will give you they will give you the opportunity to stay if you are ready to stay. And this happens in every higher dimension that you visit, that you have then the option. So we are attuned through the light body, we are attuned through the physical body. So for example, my guides asked me not to eat even fish many years ago. So I already was not eating meat, but they said no fish. So I loved fish, but I gave it up immediately that one day, even though I was living in Cyprus, because I wanted to be able to go to these higher realms and not to be held down by anything that we call food. To me, that was not worth it. And so sometimes they attune you through diet as well to be able to actually go to these higher realms. And sometimes they will tell you, oh, there are things in your life you still do that, it would be better if you don't. And they never say don't. Never, ever do they say don't. Never. They don't say don't eat meat. They don't. They say, what do you think? Would it be possible if? And it is up to you to say yes or no. And that is free will. So that's pretty amazing. So think about everything. You just want to be in the highest frequency, highest dimension, highest vibration. And I know somebody yesterday on the call said, but I love eating meat. If you still love eating meat and that is, what you guided to, then you are absolutely guided to that. I want to say, we don't want to be twisting anyone's free will. And so, but with all this preparation that really took years for me, I was able to go into the new earth. And even though you travel out of body, you still take a body with you. Now, this is the puzzling thing that I've discovered. You simply step into your etheric double. And the double, you can walk through walls and you can walk through all that we call matter. You can walk through anything physical, and it cannot stop you because you are in your etheric double. Now, as etheric double, you have absolutely free will, once again, to move through everything. Exactly, Magus of Trobolos. He had a special name for it. I think he called it exosomatis. And so you can go and look at yourself in the mirror, and you look at yourself in the physical mirror. That's amazing to me. And you can see yourself in your etheric double. And then you have the intentions, or you are taken. So I'm very often taken, but if I'm not taken somewhere, I have an intention. So I started to travel to the new earth and actually communicate with all the human beings there. And so this is what I want to transmit so that it lives within us. The new earth is a completely different world, and yet it is the same. It is a physical reality like this one, and yet it is absolutely high frequency of everything and everyone. Everything in creation has an amazing natural lock. Now, these locks blow my mind. It means when a dimension reaches a certain state of collective frequency and vibration, which means love and light, this world is then locked by nature to those who would come in and have lower frequency and lower vibration. They cannot enter. This is done through natural magnetism. So the new earth is locked to be a world of love, light, and the highest possible vibration. And so only beings of love and absolute love are able, members only. I love that, Linda. That's great. Exactly, members only. And so, for example, the new earth is locked this way. You probably go there anyway. I already think a lot of people don't remember when they go and come back, but that's okay. You can demand that you can go and come back if that's, where magnetism takes us. We are taken by magnetism places. This is truly when we die, same thing. Where do you go? There is no such thing as a heaven. There are so many different millions, billions, zillions of worlds and dimensions. And magnetically, we go where we belong then. That's why it's so important that we work on ourselves every day to be the cleanest and best, so that when we die, I don't want to end up anywhere but in the highest and the best. It's good to think about those things. And so the new earth. So the most important thing that is like upside down here is that all humans put nature first, because they suddenly have this amazing knowing, of course, that nature emanates divinity to us. And so they worship nature without worship. Now here, worship leads to religions. There is no religion. And that is because everyone knows exactly what is what and where it comes from. And so there is no need for worship. There is only living in absolute love with that, which is this big, big, big creation, and knowing that you are part of it. So nothing kind of is outside of us, above us, nothing that needs a prayer anymore. It doesn't, because we become a living prayer the way we live. Every single human I met, and I met many, and I met those native people that you would say, and everyone's considered a family. Everyone knows each other, even though you would think, how is this going to be if many of us there? But everyone is considered to be a family. Every single person. That's pretty amazing. That's why the oneness of all life, suddenly they all realize they are part of one planet, one family. So I walked around and I noticed that some of the places that we have here on this planet are exactly the same nature on the new earth. For example, I found Sedona to exist, but without the buildings, without all the things that humans built. I haven't seen any technology, for example. I know some people say they do, but I also have traveled far into future where I know humans will not need any technology actually, and the ultimate technology will become consciousness and nature, and that nature will obey consciousness to create things like teleportation, which is absolutely, absolutely possible, as you can imagine. So we all have this within us already. So when we do this work here, we are just uncovering that design within us. And I also say this old earth, I met also beings, and I don't like talking about them, but I want to mention this world that we still live in was manipulated also not only by our unconsciousness, but also by beings who blocked the flow of consciousness within us. And that's why we have things like yoga trying to unblock something that actually was not natural. So not all things in this world came out of unconsciousness of humanity. There was also very, I would say, let's call it unfriendly intervention. And so, thank you. That's exactly what it was. But back to the new earth. What you will see on the new earth is that every single being feels absolute friendliness, oneness, and love with others, as if we all belonged into a world that is higher than us, and that is the planet herself. Humans put then the planet above themselves because it's a bigger consciousness giving them the opportunity to actually experience life. So the planet with all her nature become more important than the humans and their little lives themselves. Everyone that I met walked around. I didn't see anyone actually using any vehicles, nothing like that. No planes, nothing. Teleportation, absolutely. Consciousness and nature. And then I was able to see every single person as they are. And that means every single one of us will see each other for our truth, which is the heart. No more deception, no more lying. None of that exists on the new earth. And I'm not talking fairy tale stuff. I'm saying I walked upon it. And so I was able to look at my brother, and he was in a, I would say, a body of a native. And we just communicated with each other. You can use words, you can words telepathically, tons of animals, of course. But the thing was that plants, all plants around us, the zillions of them, were so important to us. And we were receiving information being transmitted through nature into our hearts. So I'm standing with my brother. And again, I also didn't see anyone being in an old body. So the oldest physically, everyone seemed to be around me, either children, young people, but probably like at the most in your late 30s physically. And so to me is that there is no such thing as deterioration of the physical condition, complete health, complete vibrancy. Absolutely. Beautiful. And so me and my brother, we standing and looking how nature is communicating to us. Is there laughter? Of course there is laughter. That's what we all then do. It's just to bliss. But we also don't get lazy with bliss. We keep co-creating with nature, and I call it beautifying. We keep beautifying. And the beautification is creation. And so we were standing there, and I was seeing all the codes. Nature is coded. Nature has a code. It is a numerical code. And then you can see in all of nature, I started to see it recently in higher dimensions and also here on planet Earth, that nature emanates actually numerical codes. And these codes started to come into our hearts. And then our hearts were reading these codes. And so these codes really seem like numbers like 369, 297, 222. And it went straight into the heart, and the heart read the code, and the heart knew what is being transmitted as the next best thing to do and create through the heart, really quantum codes. And it was only the heart that would read it. And so then all of us would receive information just transmitted through nature. That's because she also does it here. The only thing here that she got diminished. And she showed me how here in this world, she got diminished to be just ones and zeros. So she said in this world, the nature got so diminished, she no longer transmits the multitude of codes. And so it's very interesting. It's great. And so then all of us were receiving whatever she wanted us to receive through the heart. And then it was like, oh, inventions. But inventions that would all be actually aligned with nature and be actually part of nature. So evolution absolutely is huge. There is no such thing as being stagnant just because the world is so perfect. It is actually constantly producing more. And whatever that is, for example, everything was nature. I did not see anything that you would call technological. And yet, it was very advanced. Very advanced. And so then I wanted to see where people live. I could not see any buildings. Everything was really created just like they used, in Lemuria, they were using the mind and energy and consciousness to teleport these big stones to create these beautiful places of worship. Same thing, we're going to be using our consciousness to move things around if we want to beautify it. But all the beautiful, really advanced dwellings that I found were built into nature. And you could not tell the difference between nature and a dwelling. And people loved it. It was very advanced. I don't know exactly how it all worked, but I just saw it from the outside and you could not see anything, as if nature was just beautiful, pristine, and no one was messing with her. Earth integrated homes, exactly. So now I saw that the beings were super, super connected physically to life force. And they were fully inhaling pure divine oxygen, and that already was enough. But if they wanted to, they had fruit. I saw fruit. I love fruit. But, this divine fruit was very different from what we have now, even though it might be the same things. But they were truly inhaling that pure divine oxygen. That's it. And also, if they wanted to, they were able to eat fruit. So again, I don't know how digestion will work or not, but in higher dimensions, of course, you don't have digestion like we have here. So I think whatever we think of here is so upgraded, and it just works very differently on the physical level. Absolutely. So I think, when my guides call this the gas chamber, this old earth, then they will be going no toilets. And yeah, because why would you need to eliminate, for example, if you're going to be just living on pure pranic energy on the new earth? And if you want to, you will take an amazing kind of pranic fruit, like astral fruit. And so you can think of it that way. It's you taking pure energy. You are in a relationship with that. So, and I guess that was what I learned. And I learned that definitely physical purity is one of the conditions, but not only that, of course, we are preparing our light body, we are preparing our emotions, we are preparing our mental body. And so it's really worth it, because when the change comes, you want your magnetism to take you exactly where you belong and where you love to belong instead of somewhere else. And of course, that's not about you, but I'm just thinking about everyone. So that was it for today. If you guys have any questions, then definitely put them in the chat. I'll still can answer questions. So spaceships, do they exist? Yes. I've been on an amazing spaceship myself, actually physically, and I mentioned that before. And some things are just like unbelievable. And it's good to say it. To me, okay, I wanted to say one thing. The moment we find certainty, we are probably on the wrong path. And that's how I feel about everything I share. If I sounded with 100% certainty, like this is how it is, then probably I am just, what should we say? Misleading ourselves. Stay in the mystery. That's right. This is just one little puzzle. Right? Once we find certainty, we might as well go to church and be part of a religion, because I think those guys found certainty. We don't want to find certainty, but many puzzle pieces together. So yeah, so the question, of course, is, and this is my own uncertainty, and you will hear this again and again for those who actually travel out into different dimensions, and that is time. So for those of you who are also follow Patricia Coda-Robles, have you noticed, and I always say, have you noticed, up until about a year ago, every video Patricia made, she was speaking about the blink of an eye, the blink of an eye. And suddenly she stopped speaking about the blink of an eye. Yeah, exactly. So as I see it, blink of an eye. But again, when you see this from another dimension, it seems like a blink of an eye transformation. Now, I don't want this to take years. Let it be a blink of an eye. So much better. I like that better. But anyway, so from a higher perspective, this seems like a blink of an eye. The solar flash will come. Everybody goes into a different perception. We all shift our central nervous system to stop perceiving this old reality. This old reality actually will lose the body. She told me she will actually let go of the old body, meaning the old earth will actually die. That's what she told me. She said, just think of it as shedding old skin. And she said, as everyone, and once again, for those of you mystics, think about this, central nervous system upgrade. What will that do? It must be that we start perceiving another reality. I even think that like samadhi, isn't it a central nervous system ultimate upgrade? And you simply stop seeing what's here, but you start seeing something else. Exactly. And so and again, I say certainty, no, but I've seen this, 100% seen it again and again and again. The solar flash will come. It will be big. It will run through every single one of us. We will surrender to it, because what else are you going to do? And as you surrender, you are instantaneously, blink of an eye, in a new reality. And for those of us, all of us here, it's going to be the new earth. And so it is. It sounds great to me and very logical, actually. It sounds very scientific to me too, when you think about it. And so thank you so much for being here today. And we will repeat this beautiful activation later today. And tomorrow we'll be guided again by Divine Mother. So thank you so much.